So when this opportunity came across my page, I was just like, wow, you know, this, I feel like this has my name written all over it. Like, I feel like this is something I could really do. My enroller, Ashley Murr, I knew she did it all through social media. And I was like, you know, that would be perfect for a college student like myself. I can work and, you know, still go to school and do this from my phone. So I literally jumped right in and had no idea what I was doing. I didn't even know I had to have a team when I started. She said I was the easiest person that she's ever signed up. And I jumped in and I was like, okay, what do I do now? And so I just started right away. And, since then, it's just been amazing. I've been able to move out of my parents' house. I've quit all my jobs, and it supports me full time, of course. And now, so yeah, it's just been an amazing 2 years, and I can't believe I'm ambassador. That's so crazy to say now. It's just been insane. But yeah, so I don't know. I just love it so much, and I definitely didn't imagine to be here when I started. I actually had an extremely, extremely slow start. I made my first month, I made $29, which I was really, really excited about because I was like, I just made $29 for my cell phone. How cool is this? So, yeah, I had a really, really slow start. I was that girl who joined and didn't want to post on Facebook because I didn't want to annoy my friends and family. So I'm sure you guys all know how that is. So I built my entire business primarily through Instagram. And now I use Facebook, of course, because it's amazing. And I should have right off the bat. But that's why I had a super slow start, is because I started with my cold market on Instagram. So, yeah. So do you want me to just go into your questions, or do you want to?
Yeah, that's totally fine.
Okay. So I just kind of like wrote some notes down for me to.
Or I can ask you if it's easier, whatever's easiest for you.
Okay, yeah, if you want to do that, so I kind of have some notes. I'm kind of
scattered. Okay, so you guys, I just sent her some questions. So, what was something? So you kind of made your game plan from the beginning of how you were going to start. So you knew, because you lived in a smaller town, that you were just going to go off of social media, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I knew.
So give them like a day-to-day of kind of what your day looks like with building off of social media. How many times you're posting? Are you using both Instagram and Facebook? Just kind of, I know a lot of people are always asking, like, are you messaging people, or are you waiting for people to message you, or do you like or message people that like your photos, or how do you go about it?
So my goal every single day is to make sure I'm just getting the word out there. Make sure I'm talking to new people every single day, and then I'm reaching out to new people. So on a daily basis, my goal is to talk to 25, to 50 new people every single day, because I know if I'm getting the word out there and I'm talking to new people, then that's my biggest goal. So I'm talking to new people every single day and reaching out to them. And I'm also making sure to grow my audience every single day. So on Facebook, I'm always adding new people. On Instagram, I'm following, 1 to 200 people at least every single day, just to get new people watching me. I would say when I first started, it was kind of different, actually. I would post, and it was kind of newer then, so I would post, and I had a lot of people coming to me. But now, as time has went on, I actually reach out to a lot more people now, and I have my team, reaching out to a lot more people. Since it's through social media, I always stress so much to make sure we're building relationships. I think that's huge when you do it through social media, because it's such a cold market and you're reaching out to so many people you just don't know. So I am every single day building relationships. The first time I reach out to somebody, it's not just, hey, have you heard about It Works? Usually I try to create a relationship. So if I see something that they're really into, so for an example, I really like, you say makeup. So say I see somebody that really likes makeup, I'll reach out to them and be like, hey, and just like start a conversation that way, or about their kids, or just about anything, and literally just create a conversation. Don't even bring up the business or anything like that. So I just create my, that first initial relationship. And then as time goes on, I might reach out to them about the business and be like, hey, I've watched your page for a little bit, and I think you'd be really good at this. Is this something you've ever considered? So building relationships is huge. So that's something I really focus on every single day. And then just making sure I'm building my audience and growing it. On Facebook, I do the 3-3 rule every single day, which is the 3 just random life posts and then 3 business posts. And then on Instagram, since there's just so many people on there, I try to post every 2 to 3 hours. I feel like if you're not posting a lot, then a lot of times they're not seeing your post. And I don't post just all business stuff. I make it super personal. I feel that it's really important to make sure you're showing people who you are and that you're a real person, and how you incorporate the business, or how you incorporate the business into your daily life. So that's my biggest thing, is just keeping it super personal and showing them you're a real person, but then also incorporating the business into your post.
Yes. And you guys, one thing I really like about that is that I think so many times people are wondering, like, okay, so for just people that you're thinking, when you go through Facebook or Instagram, you're like, okay, these are people that you are thinking yourself, this is somebody who I would maybe want on my team. And just even like you said, not necessarily going and straight up asking them, but you are just kind of starting a conversation with them so that they kind of start following you back, so that way, like she said, I mean, relationships are super important just for the fact that that is how you keep your team. That's how you retain people because they don't leave their friends. So I really love how you said it. So what is like a sample message that you would send to somebody for somebody that you would consider as like a distributor?
So I try to keep it, if it's somebody, are you talking about like the first message I send, or if I'm trying to
like once you're introducing it to them?
Okay, so once I've already talked to them and I'm just trying to see if they're ready to do it yet, if I've already kind of like talked to them about it, I try to always like try to kind of make it urgent in a way, and then also make it about them. So for an example, something I would say is, hey girl, I know we talked about you joining before, and I have 3 openings on my team this week, and you came to mind. I know we've talked about it before. Is it something you're ready to get started on? Or I'm just always really excited. I'll say something like, hey girl, I'm so excited to get you started. I know we've talked about it. Are you ready to take the leap with me? I just try to keep it super personal, and I try to talk to everybody like they're my best friend.
Yeah.
Yes, as far as like examples, here I have another one. I wrote a couple down too. I said, I'll be like, hey girl, just wanted to reach out to you to see if you're ready to take the leap with me in this business. I'm seriously so excited to help you do this. And I feel like every time I talk to a potential distributor, I always let them know how excited I am to help them do it, because so many times we get into it and we think we're just gonna be thrown into it. I remember starting and I was like, okay, am I just alone? Like, I didn't know we had team pages or anything like that. So I always make it, I always let them be aware that they're gonna have so much help and so much support along the way too.
Right. And then how about for LCs? For that, I feel like it is kind of a different approach. So do you message people that say you do a post about a product? Do you message them if they like it, or do you wait for them to come to you, or how do you go about getting your LCs?
Yeah, so I'll reach out to them if they like my posts. I'll, reach out to them and be like, hey, thank you so much for the love on my post. Have you ever considered trying the hair, skin, nails before? Or, I actually had a really good post. Let me see if I can find it. I actually got a lot of loyal customers last month from this post that I sent. But I'll ask people if they'll be like a product tester for me. Mm-hmm. And I just like reached out to a lot of people. People that didn't even like my post, but I just kept it super personal. I was just like, hey, I should have wrote that down. I'm sorry. But I just basically gave them like a list of products. I said, hey, I'm looking for some people to do some sample or like before and afters for me for my portfolio. And I was wondering if you'd be interested. And I list like I listed like the cleanse, the wraps, and hair, skin, nails, and seeing if they would do that. And I let them know that they would get my discounted price. So I kind of like, when they feel like they're getting a deal out of it, like that's what I'm trying to do, because you're my discounted price if you do this for me. So I got a lot of loyal customers from that last month though, reaching out.
For somebody who always will say, maybe we hear this a lot, that the 3-month thing scares people off. So what would be your advice for somebody that feels like when they're talking about, the auto ship or the 3-month, what is your advice to kind of overcome that? Or maybe even just wording that you use that, it doesn't seem to be scaring them off? Because I feel like I hear that a lot.
Yeah, I always just try to make the loyal customer program sound like it's the best thing in the entire world. Like, just so excited about it, and I always compare the prices for the retail and the loyal customer price. So I let them know what kind of deal they're getting. So I'll say, okay, and if you sign up, let me see, how do I word it? I always say, if you sign up as a loyal customer, you're going to choose at least one product a month for 3 months straight, which is 90 days. And you're going to get it at my discounted price, which is 40% off. I let them know that they can switch up the product each month and that they're going to get, the perk points back. So I just kind of like tell them about the loyal customer deal all together, and then just make it like tell them how great it's doing for so many people that I've had before, like the 9-day challenge. I say 90-day challenge a lot more than the loyal customer, but I just always try to make it sound like the best thing ever when I try to word it. Like I just try to make it sound super exciting. Like if you don't sign up as a loyal customer, you're crazy to go retail, basically.
Right. And do you get instructions to go sign up on your website, or do you sign them up for themselves, or how do you kind of go about sealing the deal with it? Because I feel like that's another thing that we get a lot of is they're like, well, they said they're going to sign up, or, what is your regimen of following up with somebody that says they're going to sign up?
I never just throw my website at them. I always wait till they're ready to sign up right then. So I always give them the choice, because I know some people just aren't comfortable with giving them like your information and stuff. So I'll give them a choice. I'll say, would you like me to take your information and do it for you? Or would you like me to send you the link and I can walk you through the sign up process? But I always walk them through it no matter what. I don't, I'll be like, are you ready to sign up now? And then just walk them through every single step so they do it. And I have pretty good luck with that. I have a lot more people sign up themselves than people that give me their information to sign up.
Okay. Let me see. So we talked about that. Do you feel like you're building your business the same now as you did in the beginning? So still mostly off of social media?
Yeah, I still do a lot more of my friends and family, like as time has went by, has like joined me now. But definitely, I still feel like I do a lot of the same. Instagram has just always worked really well for me personally. So I still just do so much on Instagram, but Facebook's, amazing as well. And for my team, it's just one or the other. It seems like some people get more luck from Instagram, some get more luck from Facebook. But altogether, yeah, it's still a lot of people that I just don't know. Majority of 99% of my team are people that I've met through social media.
Right. So what would be some of your biggest obstacles that you kind of came through with building your business and how you overcame some of those?
So I know we talked about like how I'm from a small town, and I feel I always let them know that, like, especially through social media, you're just being opened up to so many people, and that's just, I feel like that helps a lot when I tell them that, just because there's so many people on social media, so that for sure. And then yeah, I wrote the notes. Let me try to find my. So just being able to reach out to so many people on social media, and I just tell them like I'm from a small town. When I joined that, like if I knew about the business before I had joined, but I always thought it was like parties. So like that for me was not, it personally wasn't for me. So when I knew I could do it through social media, I knew that I was automatically going to be opened up to so many people. So I just kind of like let them know that altogether. And I know we talked about like people who don't have money. I always let them know that I didn't have the money when I started either. So whenever somebody like uses that as an excuse, because I know like a lot of college students just $99 is a lot of money. So I just always let them know that first I always ask them, I'm like, okay, a year from now, do you want to be in the same position that you are now? And then I always just say, how much is an extra $500 going to help you? It's going to be worth it to invest that $99. And I always just say, like, I had to charge it to a credit card. You can sell old things around the house. You can babysit. Like, it's going to just be so worth it. And just let them know what they're going to get out of it in the end if they invest that, the $99.
So do you think in the beginning, did you have people more your age, or you were finding, or did you kind of use a different market since you were using Instagram?
It was kind of all over the place. It's kind of a mix, really. I have a lot of college students, but then I also have a lot of, moms and stuff too. So I feel like I didn't necessarily just do one or the other more, so say, but like when I first started, what I did is I followed like a ton of boutiques. Like that's what I stuck with at first. So it's kind of just like all over the place. I wouldn't say I have one more than the other.
Okay. And so how do you launch your new distributors? How do you feel like do you have kind of a routine that you use that you feel like successfully gets them off and running, or what's your approach for that?
So whenever I first joined, I remember I was just super, super overwhelmed. And my biggest goal is to just make people feel that way. I know it's hard not to because there's just so much information you can throw at them, but I try to keep it as simple as possible when they first start. So my main goal is definitely just not to overwhelm them. And I just go over kind of the basics at first. I let them know, any questions that they have, I'm going to be here to answer. And then I teach them just, the basics. So I teach them how to log into their eSuite and let them know that that's their back office, but I don't go into depth with it. I say, we're going to learn more as we go along about that. And once they sign up like their first customer, I'll show them like where they're going to be able to find that and stuff in the eSuite. And then on my team page, I have a couple training videos that I have them watch. And then I just break it down from there, and I just go over the basics. So I give them their first goal, which is, I tell them about the loyal customer program and getting their first 4 loyal customers and how crucial that is. And then I always just help them set up their first post. And I think a lot of people, like, I know I was like, I don't know what to start with in posting. And a lot of people think, when you sign up, okay, I'm selling something, so it needs to sound like, I don't know, we come off as like an advertisement. So I always just make sure they know how important it is to not come off as an advertisement. So always give them example posts, help them set up their first post, give them some wording, and then just let them know that I'll walk them through, like when they have somebody that comes and talks to them, if they need help talking, then I'm going to be there for them as well with that. And their first couple of weeks, I just work super close with them, and I'm reaching out to them every other day, if not every day, and just making sure, they're doing good if they need help with anything that, to do that. But I try to keep it as simple as possible for sure.
And then, so you kind of just follow them through.
Yeah.
And so what if somebody wants to do a party?
It's
like an in-person party.
Yeah, I find that out first too. We have like in our team page, I have like a file set up, which is like all about parties and stuff too, that they can go through. And if they do parties, we have like team wrap parties and stuff online as well, like through Facebook. So we've done that. But if they want to do party, like I've actually never done a party myself personally, but if they want to do that, then we have like a lot of information on that as well. And I have some big training videos and stuff.
And you feel like, so the couple of training videos that you have, what do you kind of address in your training videos that you have available? I just want to give some of the girls ideas, because I told people, I'm like, when my business really started going, it was kind of when, instead of relying on maybe my upline to do something, but it was like, once you start having distributors, it's not necessarily that people want to hear from me and you, but they want to hear from the people that they joined, and so maybe just give them some examples of what they're doing, because I'm really starting to encourage them, like, you guys, you can do these videos. Like, we screw up in our videos too, like we might fumble over words or whatever we're doing, or we lose our train of thought, and I mean, that's just normal,
Yeah. I have a couple from Jade that I haven't watched. She has a really good new distributor launch video, so I haven't watched that one. And then I just try to, in my video, I go over like the steps to success and how, just like your first goal as a distributor, getting the 2 loyal customers is going to fast start qualify you. Getting the first 4, you're going to get your 120 in free product, and then going over Ruby and stuff like that. I try to keep it super simple so they don't watch it and they're just like super overwhelmed. But usually like the steps to success and just letting them know that if they're going to follow that, then they can, they can go so far. They can go, to the top end, basically.
Right. And so when you're running your team, just give some people some tips. Like, how often are you communicating with people? Do you mostly are you texting them? Are you guys on the phone, voice memo? Or are you mostly just utilizing your team page and your team knows to go there?
Yeah. So I have my team page, but I am posting on every single day. Just add different videos from other users on there. I'll give them some tips, things that are working for me. I also texting. It's kind of a mix. I use Facebook voice message all the time. I love that. I know Ashley right now, she actually uses Voxer all the time. She's told me I needed that. I haven't ever used Voxer, but yeah, I use Facebook voice message, texting for like my closest distributors, but as a team, it's definitely my team page. I'm on there every single day. I schedule my post all on Sunday throughout the week so I can have that on there. We do a lot of layered leadership on my team, and something that I've actually started that I've really been liking is like at the beginning of the month, I'll ask who would be interested in just one day out of the month, who would be interested in just posting that day. And they can share any tips that they have. They can create a video for us or anything like that. And it makes them feel, I don't know, I just like to give them that leadership feeling, that they can have, because they should have that. And so I've been doing that, and they've really been loving that. I'm huge on recognizing people and just letting them know. And I see that they're doing a good job. I'm making sure to throw that out there. Everybody loves the feeling of being recognized. Nobody's not going to like that. It just gives them that boost of confidence to just keep pushing. So I'm really big on that, and really big on my leaders making sure that they're doing that as well. So they know, I don't know, it just gives you that boost of confidence, I feel like.
Right. I love recognition as well. Hey, you guys, if you're not muted, will you please mute yourself so I don't have to like mute everybody and then we have to unmute ourselves? Thank you. So another thing is, if you were to give people, like, on the months that you're promoting, I always tell my team, I'm like, you guys, you have to claim it in the beginning. I said, no one just all of a sudden lands a promotion at the end of month that they haven't even thought was coming, So what would be your tips on how you kind of organize everything when you're claiming a promotion and to make it happen?
Yeah, I always try to stress that as well. I say promotions don't just fall into place. As awesome as that would be, they just definitely don't.
Yeah.
So, definitely from the beginning of the month, I am making sure that we're all on top of it. I have it, from the first day of the month, we're working really hard every single day together to make it happen. And I'm reaching out to my leaders every other day to make sure that we're all working towards the same thing. So basically, everyone down to my executive legs and every part of, all of my promotions, I make sure that they're working towards the same thing. Everybody just has to be working towards the same exact thing for it all to come together. And I just work with the people who are working for it. I'm making sure that all my leaders are on board and just working towards the same thing. And I do a lot of little contests throughout the month on promotion months just to keep people pushing and motivated and stuff like that as well. Let's see.
What are some of your contests that you run if somebody wanted to do some contests?
Last month, one that worked well for me was, we do like little stuff. Like I'll I do, like last month I did one, anyone who gets 4 loyal customers within the next 72 hours, your name's going to go in a drawing for any It Works shirt of your choice. I do stuff like that. People love apparel on my team. So I do a lot of apparel contests. I've done like an iPad before. I've done people who like places orders. I'll give you like, say you place an order, how did it go? I have it written in my phone. I should have wrote these down. But basically last month when I was going for ambassador, anyone who would place a personal order, I would give them 50% back of that order. Okay. So in certain legs, in like certain promoting legs, like on dead legs, I would reach out to them and do that. But yeah, I do a lot of little ones rather than big ones because I feel like whenever they get like this, you have 72 hours to do this, they just push harder towards it. And instead of just having like a full month to do it.
So when you're going for promotions and you're messaging people, does everyone kind of know like, you know, you're going executive, this person's going Ruby, they kind of know like where they lie in, you know, everyone's promotion for your leg, or do you kind of just focus just on that person's executive and they don't really know? Because I feel like that's something that I've been getting a lot of.
Like the executive doesn't know?
Yeah. Because they're kind of asking, they're like, should we let people know like, you know, that we're all working together and, you know, this is your promotion and this also promotes this and this and this. Or they're like, or should we just not even say anything about that and only focus like on that person's particular promotion?
Yeah, I try to go down to everybody, the executive, and just anyone who's promoting, I make a big deal about it. You know, I just let them know exactly what they need. You know, you're so close to executive. That's amazing. Do you know what you need? And just make sure that they know exactly what they need to be pushing towards that promotion. I try to really make it about them and get them excited because, you know, they're the one promoting. And I feel like that's like the biggest thing I do is just to get it really excited for them about that promotion. I don't really let them know though, you know, like you promoting is going to help me or anything like that. I try to make it really about them.
Right. Okay. And you guys, when you're doing that, are you starting kind of those messages? I always explain to my team, I'm like, I usually do it and I'm breaking things, you know, that's like one of my first things that I do in the first like 3 days of the month. You know, and obviously you're going to have people that jump through or, you know, all of a sudden come through the cracks and they're having a really good month and, you know, you grab them as well. But I always say like, when do you start doing those messages so that people know that this is what they're working for all month?
Yeah, as soon as the beginning of the month hits, I'm messaging them and making sure they're all on board. I definitely don't wait till auto shipments run through and then wait, you know, and see where we're going. It's a whole entire month group effort. From the beginning of the month, I always say, create your picture and put your promotion on there. You're like, what are you claiming this month? And, you know, post it and then tag me in it, you know, throw it out there to the whole entire world that you're doing this. And that's what I always do. From the beginning of the month on promotion months, I'm definitely working at the, you know, the first, like you said, first few days, definitely working so close, making sure that they know what they need from the entire, you know, throughout the month to get to it.
Right. So if you were what do you know now about the business that you wish you would have known in the beginning?
I would say, I was trying to think about this and I was like, you know what? I think my biggest thing is that I focus so much. Okay, so many people have quit on me. I've enrolled so many people who just, they don't want it. They just quit on me. And I've spent so much time, you know, questioning myself, questioning my leadership, questioning, you know, why these people are quitting on me. And I just wasted so much time on that. So my biggest thing is don't waste time on people who just don't want this. You know, focus on the people who do want this and you're just going to go so much farther. I remember, you know, when I first started, I would just not understand why these people are quitting. I would be down about it. I would try to beg them to stay. And I just came to the conclusion that if somebody does not want this, no matter how much you want it for them, then there's nothing you can do about it. So definitely just focusing on the people who are trying to work with you, the people who do want this, and stop focusing on the people who are quitting, and just don't let that get you down, because it's frustrating and sad. But like I said, you just can't want this for anybody else if they don't want it for themselves. So definitely just working with anyone who's wanting to work with you.
Right. I think that's really good. And I think in the beginning, I kind of did the same thing. I'm like, I almost took it personal, like, oh, what did I do for them? Or what don't they see that I don't see? And eventually, I mean, you just kind of realize that you can only want it for somebody so much, you know, and you will find people that want it as bad as you do, or see the vision, or, you know, realize like the time and commitment is totally on your side and it doesn't work against you. I think so many people try to, like, you know, race certain people that maybe they signed up at the same time as them, or they see somebody else, you know, going super fast, or they hear, oh my gosh, she went triple diamond in 6 months. And they're like, I'm 6 months and I'm at an executive, you know. And I always just tell people, like, your journey's your journey, you know, and you never know when you're going to find some awesome people to be running with you and that just get it. So the other thing, so you've obviously grown really, really fast. And so I always just tell people, do you feel like that really helped you in leading your team because that's the only pace they kind of knew to follow? Or do you have some people that you're like, you know what, I see that they kind of just want to do this more as a hobby and you just kind of, for them, you just slow down to their pace?
Yeah, I always just tell everyone to lead by example is my thing. So I think that's just been the best thing for me is that my team just sees what I did, so they're doing the same thing. The momentum it's just been there. And so I just tell, everybody that, don't tell your team something that you're not doing personally. So my biggest thing is just make sure I'm still working my business every single day, just as hard as I would want everybody else to on my team. So leading by example, I definitely think is so important.
And are you guys doing Zooms with your team, like when you do trainings, or what kind of ways are you doing the trainings? Or are you just doing the videos and then they have the ability to go watch them?
Yeah, we do a lot of videos, and then I do have a lot of us do weekly team new distributor training as well.
Okay.
We've been getting a lot more into Zoom, but I have like the basic videos for them to watch when they first start, but then once a week we've been doing a weekly new distributor team Zoom too.
Okay, perfect. So what would be your best advice to give? That's kind of a loaded question, but what would be just some like really good tips that you're like, you know what, this is just really kind of what I go by and it's always been helpful for myself?
I just always let everybody know, have fun with it. Fall in love with it, because when you fall in love with something, it's just so easy to share with other people. So, find that product that you just love that is just going to be so easy for you to tell every single person that you know about it. Have fun with the business. Don't stress about it. Don't get down when somebody else does something quicker than you. Just be excited, because it's going to be your journey that you're going to be able to tell someday. It's going to be your story. And that's what's just so exciting about it. So, just have so much fun. And like I had a super, slow start when I first started, and I didn't even realize it because I was just having so much fun with it. I didn't compare myself to anybody. I didn't, I was just going with it a day at a time. I was just going towards that next goal. So whenever you just focus on yourself and just focus on, your goals and not what everybody else is doing and just having fun with it, I think it's just crazy. It's just so much more fun, whenever you do that than stressing yourself out about focusing on, other people.
Right. I'm going to answer some of these questions, Courtney, they're asking you. Let me see. What did she say in regards to setting Elsie's? Hold on a second. Oh, somebody answered that. Okay, somebody said, when you sign up people in your cold market from social media, do you do it all through messaging, or do you try to get them over to your phone?
Personally, I do it all through messaging. I have like a notes section in my phone, and I do a lot with that. I just have it all set up to where, like, step from step of where I just have it, all organized from my training, how I do it. So I do it all through text messaging.
Okay. Let me see. You guys, if you have a question, you can go over on the chat and you can ask it. I feel like somebody just raised their little hand. Oh, okay. Somebody said that you said that you had a slow start. They just want to know like what you mean by that.
So, nobody talked to me my entire first month. I started with Instagram with 0 followers. So I started with definitely a cold market. It's so great. Facebook's amazing for your warm market because there's a lot of people on there you already know. Well, I created a brand new Instagram, and I started with 0 followers. So it took me a long time to really, get people to trust me and actually want to come to me and talk to me about it. So my first month, I really did not do anything at all. I was working and I was posting, but I just wasn't getting any interaction at all. I remember Ashley coming to me and she was like, hey, is there any way I can help you? Because I just was getting nowhere, but I was talking to a lot of people. I had tried a couple of the products, so I knew what I had in front of me and stuff. So yeah, just nothing really I didn't just take off right from the beginning like some people do.
So when did you hit Ruby in your business?
When did I hit Ruby? I think it was my 3rd month I hit Ruby.
Okay.
I believe.
Yeah. See?
And then I hit Diamond at 7 months is what it was.
Okay. And then you kind of, did you just start kind of finding your people that were ready to kind of run with you? Or I always try to tell people, I'm like, even if you have 30 people on your team, you still might only need 2 people to be really running hard with you to get to that double diamond. I try to explain, it's so hard. People want like a ratio. And I think that that's good too, because some people, I tell people, I'm like, you guys, I might find a runner, like when I mean runner that is like doing their steps to success with me, I'm like, I might find one out of like 6 or 8, you know? So sometimes I give them a ratio because I'm like, if you haven't even gotten to 8 DTs yet, that may be why you haven't got a runner yet, you know?
Oh yeah, it definitely took me a good minute. I remember when I was going diamond, both my emerald and my ruby quit on me. And I was like, oh my gosh. So I had literally just like 2 people working with me for diamond, but I just worked so close with them and we just made it happen because we were all just working towards that next goal. So it was tough. Diamond was like one of my most exciting promotions because I had worked so hard for it because I just did not have a runner. I built myself entirely to diamond almost. But when I went diamond or double diamond is when I really started getting leaders that were really wanting this. Like I said, I had so many people quit on me when I first started. It was crazy, but I just never let that stop me because it never was a race to me. I didn't, I was like, oh, I'm going to find somebody else that wants this just as much as I did. And that's just how I always looked at it. And I just had a lot of fun with it that I didn't even think, like nothing was going to get in my way. Like I was going to get to that next promotion no matter what, no matter how hard I had to work with it. I was just going to have to work with what I got.
Right. And I love that, like not having a timeline. And, one thing that I really like that you said is, and I tell people this all the time, I'm like, you were excited even about a $29 check. So I say, I'm like, if you are a happy distributor or you are a happy executive, that makes for a really happy diamond. And I tell people, I'm like, I would kind of had the same mindset as you. Like, I was like, I couldn't even believe that I broke even. I was like, yes, that's amazing. And then, when I even got my first check, I'm like, oh my gosh, the positives. Like, I almost tell people, I'm like, I don't know if people should have expectations or not, but I really didn't. And so I felt like each time I was getting somewhere, I just was like, yes, this is so awesome, and so I always tell people that. I'm like, get rid of the timeline that you may have for yourself. I know that my timeline, I think I was like, yeah, if I hit Ruby in a year, I'm doing great. Well, I went a little bit faster than that. But, I just said like, you have to. And then, there was a time where it's like, I kind of felt like it stalled out or I had to, find some different runners to run with. And I'm kind of the same way that you were. I was just happy with kind of all of it. So another one, so they're wondering, do you do cold messages at all for even like I know you kind of do for LCs, you said. And then for DTs, you more so kind of like to start like a personal conversation. So how many times would you interact with somebody before maybe bringing up like joining your team?
So I kind of keep track of that. I kind of see if somebody keeps liking my posts and I keep liking their posts, then I go on their page and comment on their posts and they'll comment on mine. I'll finally reach out to them and just be like, hey, I know we've talked a little bit before and, I've seen your post and I think you'd be really great at this. Is it something that you've ever considered before? Or, but yeah, I always try to create that first relationship before I just reach out to them. And I try to just keep it as personal as possible. I get messages all the time from people that send me, hey, have you tried that crazy wrap thing? And I just don't feel like it's really personal to just reach out to somebody like that, the very first time you're talking to them. So creating that relationship, I really don't cold message a lot for distributors until they like interact with me first. There's been some times where I'll see somebody that I think would be really good at it, and then I'll reach out to them, but it's not an everyday thing that I do.
And so do you keep your message extremely short, or what would be a sample message that you send somebody?
For a distributor, for a potential
distributor? Yeah, for a distributor.
Okay. So I'll just be like, hey girl, I've been checking out your posts and you look like you'd be really good at this business. Is it something that you've ever considered? Like, I just try to keep it so simple. Or I'll just be like, hey, I see you're a stay-at-home mom. Have you ever considered making money from home? Is this something you've ever considered before? I don't try to throw a bunch of information at them first or anything like that. If it's somebody I've talked to though before about something else, I'll just kind of like start a conversation and be like, hey, I actually wanted to ask you, have you ever considered the opportunity with Bitworks? I've watched your post and stuff and something I really think you'd be great at. I just wanted to reach out to you and see what you thought about it. So something like that. I just try to keep it, personal and simple.
And so if you have somebody that, you're making your list and you're like, yes, this is who I want to message, and they don't respond to you, how often are you following up with that person?
So if they don't respond to me, we always do like follow-up Friday, which follow up with anyone who says they've been interested. Just right now, it's not the turn. We do that. But if they haven't responded to me, I usually check in with them a couple times. And then from there, I just, I give it a little bit of time. So it's definitely not an every week thing. Sometimes if I've messaged them like twice, usually I wait like 2 to 3 weeks at least before I message them again and reach back out to them. I don't want to like come off as super annoying or, like I'm bugging the crap out of them or anything like that. So
Right.
But if they have been interested and just right then wasn't the time, then we always follow up on Friday.
And I think so, like, to give people kind of an average, like when you're doing follow-ups, and I feel like sometimes so many people get so consumed with maybe there's like these 3 people that showed that they're interested, and they kind of like don't keep planting seeds, and they're just really obsessed with these 3 people, and they kind of keep waiting. So that's something that I've really been telling them too. I'm like, don't wait. Like, you know that you planted the seed there, keep going, like keep adding to your list. So how many people, like kind of on a regular basis, do you feel like you are really kind of having conversation back and forth, like deciding when the good time is for them, you know, that they've said, yes, I'm interested, but they're not like quite biting yet. So how many times, like, are you following up with them? Do you continue to message new people, and, you know, when they come back and they're ready, then great, and they, you know, you can help them when they're ready? Or how do you go about that?
Yeah, so my goal every single day is to make sure I'm talking to brand new people. I always want to be growing that market for sure, because, you know, I watched I don't know, I watched it for at least 2 to 3 weeks before I ever said anything, and I feel like that's a pretty short time. I have people, I don't know if you know Cortney, she watched me for an entire year before she committed. So it's just kind of crazy how many people are watching you that, you know, you may have not ever even reached out to. So that's why it's just so important to make sure you're reaching out to new people and talking to new people every single day. If they said they've been interested, I keep interacting with their posts. I make sure I'm still commenting on their stuff. I'm liking their stuff, just so they know, like, I'm still paying attention to them. I didn't forget about them. But I'm not a person to like really bug someone until they do it. I kind of just let them watch me, but I still, you know, make sure I'm interacting with their posts. But I don't know if I have a certain time frame. I'm not really the most organized person when it comes to follow-ups, but you know, it just kind of depends on what the response I get from them. So if they sound like it's going to be soon, then I'll reach out with them, you know, next Friday. But if it's going to be a little bit, or they just don't have the money right now, and I reach out to them 2 times and they still haven't responded, I'm going to wait, you know, a few weeks at least before I reach out to them again.
Yeah, I think that's good. And do you do any blitzing, like when you're out and about, or somebody was asking for some blitzing ideas?
Blitzing ideas. So I don't know if you guys are college students, but I always wear my It Works shirts and stuff to class, because I have so many people ask me about it. I was just wearing my bracelet when I went to go sign up for classes, and I had a girl ask me about it, and I always have them like follow me on Instagram or add me on Facebook or something like that. I don't actually do a lot of blitz cards. I've done it a couple of times, but not a lot. But basically just me wearing the clothes out in public. I think that's just it's just an easy conversation starter. And something I do all the time. I'll sit by new people all the time, and I'll start a conversation with them, and I'll just be like, oh yeah, do you work here in Columbia? And they'll like tell me what they do. And then they, like 90% of the time, they're always like, do you work here? You know, they return the question, and I'll be like, actually, you know, have you ever heard of It Works? I actually work completely from my cell phone. And whenever you say that to a college student, you know, through social media, it's kind of like a instant, like, oh my gosh, you like make money from your cell phone. And I'll tell them, you know, yeah, like this like helps me with school and stuff, and I don't have to work and go to school. And it's just a really easy conversation starter. So not really huge into blitzing with the actual cards, like going out and handing them out, but just wearing my It Works gear for sure.
I love that, because I'm kind of the same exact way. So I don't, like, in my mind, I'm not like, oh, I'm going to go out and blitz today. Like, I'm usually running around anyways. And so, and same thing, I think it's really powerful to actually say, you know, like you said, either have them follow you on Instagram or Facebook, or even ask to them, hey, you know, are you on Instagram or Facebook? I'd love to follow you. So that way they can see it. But, you know, the other thing that you just brought up that I thought was really neat, that one of my other girls, she's a flight attendant, and she can't wear her gear everywhere because she's already like in, you know, maybe you guys at work have already a uniform that you have to wear, but the bracelet, that's exactly what she said. She goes, everyone asks me about my bracelet. And honestly, I've never even thought of that. I'm like, I need to wear my bracelet a lot more. I mean, I'm usually decked out in gear. And then, you know, telling people, like you said, like, you're not just sitting by the people that you know all the time, you know. And I think whether you're a college student or not, I mean, you can, whether it be at sporting events or whatever, you know, whatever event that you may be at, like, that would be something great to do. You know, you're sitting by somebody else and starting up conversation. And I think that's another really important part, you guys, that she brought up, is that she starts up the conversation. So, I mean, and I think there's nothing easier than, you want to think of questions maybe to bring up that is kind of a loaded question that they're going to ask you right back. And that's like your, you know, little cue that you can come in and talk about It Works, you know? Well, thank you. Is there anything else that you can think of that I didn't ask you that you would want to share with anybody? Or did I drill you pretty good?
see. I took lots of notes. Let's see. I think my biggest thing is, you know, making sure that, I know we already kind of talked about this, but just like, don't set time limits. I have girls on my team who have promoted extremely, extremely fast. And so other girls haven't, you know, promoted as quickly, it gets them down all the time. I have people I get messages all the time. They're like, how'd they do this fast? And I'm like, you've got to just focus on yourself. So I think it's just so important. Just make sure you're focusing on yourself and just, you know, enjoy this. Like, you know, just be so excited that this is going to be your story to tell someday. And that you don't, you know, just, it's hard not to compare yourself at points, but just have fun with it and focus on yourself, and you're just, you know, whenever you're actually focusing on your business and not other people, it's just crazy what can happen. So I think just, you know, just having fun with it, not comparing yourself, and just always just be excited and just, you know, fall in love with something, and it's just going to be so easy to share. I think that's like my biggest thing, is just to have fun with it. And just, I know as hard as it's not, you know, to say to not compare yourself, but really try not to, and just, you know, love it. And that's going to rub off on everybody else, is because they're going to see how much you care and how much you love this business, and that's going to, you know, rub off on them.
Yes, I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for spending time with us tonight.
Oh my gosh, you're welcome. Thank you guys for having me.
Yes. Yes. Have a good night.
Yeah, you too.